We on?
We on, man.
We live?
We live. My
Welcome
favorite
to the
girl.
Black Manosphere.
As I told you, on Friday night, I'm going to
gosh.
open my Seeking account back up because
His Seeking account.
it's Sugar Daddy season.
I know. Like what is the Seeking account? I had to look that up.
Say hello. Say hello to my little friend.
So he is out with Brittany Renner.
Tell the folks who that is, just in case they don't know. Well, you got to know by the voice.
Yeah, you got to
now.
know by now. It's PJ Washington, baby mama.
Is hanging out with.
I wonder how PJ feels, man.
Like an idiot.
But you know, when we was listening to Academics last week, you know, she made it seem like that her and PJ had a working relationship.
Yeah, but that be cap. I could tell just because. Here's my thing: if y'all got a working relationship, my issue with everything is like, why are you on this tour? And I am calling this a press tour, because we're in a situation where, you own Academics, you own Joe Budden, Kevin Samuels. Let's say y'all didn't plan that. Y'all just ran into each other.
Absolutely, but did not run into each other.
Exactly.
But, yeah.
But now y'all doing. Brittany, I'm gonna do this for you. I'm saying y'all ran into each other at whatever store. What was that?
It was at Lenox Mall, so it could be anywhere.
It looked like they was across the street to the Christian Louboutin store, but nah, that shit's small over there. So they somewhere in the mall, right?
Yeah.
So let's say y'all clicked up, y'all run into each other. Who recognized who first is the joke. Probably she recognized him before he recognized her.
You think so? I think Kevin is on the prowl
For Brittany?
for women in general. Because I mean, like,
Okay.
you know, Kevin has
like where
blown
this is
up.
going.
Kevin has blown up.
He has.
So it's like, and one of the things that I can notice about Kevin is I know what new money looks like.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? I ain't saying he was broke, but I'm saying like he's in a different
tax bracket.
Yeah, he's in a
sure.
different tax bracket now.
Okay.
You know, big ups to him because I mean, hell, it's a Hustlers podcast. Get it how you can get it.
And shout out to her. It's a Hustlers
It's
podcast.
a Hustlers podcast, right? And for everybody, we did get some complaints that, you know, like, man, why y'all always talking about Brittany?
So-
like, Brittany is not the prototype, right? Like, this is not what we're saying about Brittany. What we are saying about Brittany is that it's easy to fall into the honey trap of a Brittany Renner. Like, this is the problem that a lot of men run into is that, you know, men want the 7, 8s, 9s, 10s, right? Men want the 10s, but everyone knows that the 10s are damn near unattainable.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
It's not a lot of them.
It's not.
And the men who have the most money
Get 'em.
are always going to get them, right? So most men just kind of be like, all right, if I could get, you know, a 7.5, an 8, or a 9, I'll be happy, or 8, right? That's where most men sit.
They shoot for an 8. Oh, they're 8.
They're 8, yeah.
Yeah.
So when I look at Kevin, like I can tell Kevin is in this arena that,
Okay.
you know, like, all right, you know, I'm gonna shoot my shot at the 8s or whatever, and that's why we talk about Brittany is because it is a good model for like men to look at and understand that like, yo, these pretty women will run your ass through the fucking ringer,
Absolutely.
and because that's what she's doing.
Well, great First of all, shout out to my host for knowing how to segue, because Summer Walker is out here dragging London.
Yes.
And she is, for those who not know, we gave y'all heads up like 3 weeks ago that summer's coming. Get your house in order, get ready. And Summer Walker dropped her album, Still Not Over It. And first of all, before we even get into this, something has to be said about people not digesting music like they used to. There used to be a thing where an album came out, people sat with it for weeks. It was the talk of the town. It was, yo, in your text messages, are you listening to this? Are you checking through this? Are you checking for it? I can't remember the last album where people was just like sitting on it. Even Drake dropped it, nobody was talking about it.
Yeah,
you know
no, like Summer. Yeah, and you know what made Summer Walker's album the album of the fall?
Well, okay, I'll tell you what. For the ladies, she dropped, her first album was so good. It was really good. And she came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You dropped the album, and it's dope that it's something about albums that has just one producer, right?
Yes.
Because
definitely,
you know what I'm saying?
Work.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you think about your favorite albums, you're probably going to realize that there's an executive producer who actually produced majority, if not all of the music, right? So she had this guy, London, who's producing this album. It's a great R&B album. And so people been waiting on it. You've been getting tidbits here and there. Nobody really checking for it. So this is the album. And then what happens is her team starts the what you call it when people start promoting their album, but they start the
I don't know, creating buzz.
Yeah, basically that, right? They're doing that. A rollout. They start their rollout. What's the rollout? Her baby daddy, they fussing.
Yeah.
Cool. They start letting us know that, right? Then her A&R, then the people who they trust the most are coming out and like, yo, I heard the album for a little bit. Me and my girl fussed for 2 weeks straight. Let me tell you something. Me and my wife ain't even talked about this shit in the house. I'm gonna keep it a buck. And she's the one who put me on Summer's first album.
So you know she's listening to the second album.
Yeah, so I know it. And me and her haven't even talked about it. And I'll tell you something.
Because she probably can't relate.
Mike is stealing my thunder. My wife tells me, she said, yo, I can't relate to this shit.
I can't relate. Like, and here's the thing, like most great art comes from pain, right? Like
Absolutely.
That's why we enjoy art. So there is a pain, but there's a difference between the pain of being hit by a bolt of lightning and the pain of seeing a bus come and step in front of the bus.
Yeah.
Right? These are two completely different sets of pain. Like
Okay.
one of these is tragic and the other one could have been avoided.
Okay, what could have been avoided in Summer's thing? Summer, I'm about to fight for you. Not really.
Yeah, Summer. So two things that I've realized about the album is that Summer Walker, I have not listened to album number 1 or album number 2.
Oh, number 1 was fire.
I do, and I saw photos of Summer. I think she's an attractive woman, but Summer Walker is baby mama. From what I read on the internet, she's baby mama number 4.
Absolutely.
Right, which means that there was a baby mama number 1. There was a baby mama number 2
Because the first one didn't work with the first one.
Yeah, and then there was a baby mama number 3
Because the first 2 didn't work, so there's a third one.
And now you're baby mama number 4. Now I know that sounds simplistic, but I am wondering, do people ever go through this? Because if I meet a woman and she has 3 kids and she has 3 different baby daddies,
What you want to know?
I want to know what happened to baby daddy number 1. What happened to baby daddy number 2, and then what happened to baby daddy number 3? Right? I want to know these things. I'm not sitting here thinking like, oh my gosh, I can't wait to become baby daddy number 4.
Absolutely.
So that is my question.
What happened?
But you know what? That wasn't the most ironic part about like just social media last week.
What was it?
Over the album, it was everyone talked about 2 things. One Sierra prayer at the end, which we're not even going to discuss.
Come on, man.
We're not even going to discuss.
Come on.
I mean, the best response I saw to Sierra's prayer, and this was actually
It was a legit prayer, bro.
It was a legit prayer, and someone said, so I guess prayer didn't work for the slaves, and I thought that was accurate. I think we're sometimes too flippant about like, oh my God, what's Sierra's prayer?
Mike, you didn't hear the prayer?
I
heard some of it?
I heard some of it. I went on on Apple. You can actually pull up the words.
Yep.
And I just read it. I didn't listen to it.
I gave it 30 seconds. I turned this shit off.
Yeah, I just scrolled through it. But
what was
the song everyone was talking about is they were stating that Summer was talking about her baby daddy's mom for enabling him, right? So creating this would be how she would phrase it, an ain't shit man, right?
Yeah.
So this mother raised an ain't shit man that now have created a 4th baby mama. Now I kept seeing this comment, right? And I'm clicking.
I saw it a bunch of times.
I'm clicking on profiles and I'm like, well, let me see, do they have kids? And majority of them have kids, and the majority of them have little boys. And I was like, does it not dawn on anyone that as a single mother raising a child that does not have the influence of their father, that you are doing the same thing that you're accusing Summer Walker of doing, right? Or Summer Walker's accusing London's mother of doing. You're doing the exact same thing. You are raising and enabling a little boy because the same way I would have much difficulty training my daughter to be more feminine. Yeah, right. I can give her masculine traits, right? But those feminine traits, she should get those things from her mother. Yeah. Same thing with a son. Those masculine traits he should get from his father. Yeah. Right? Did no one see the parallel there? No. Did no one see that, what? Maybe they should be maybe they should be reaching out and saying, hey, what can I do to help make you a better father in our son's life? That was the biggest thing that I saw. Now, you'll be a better person to ask this. Who was the producer on her first album?
London.
London was the producer.
He produced the whole album.
On her first album.
He was a producer. They started dating. They had a baby.
All right. And then he's also the producer on majority
so that
of the songs
is
on her second
the
album.
joke of the century. And shout out to all the dudes who I've spoken to about the album. I was like, yo, what you think about it? And he was like, yo, it's stupid. And I'm like, why? And I had one dude who loves music. He loves R&B. And he straight up told me, he said, bro, I can't sit here and support the shit because you dragging this man and he has writing credits on almost every song. The first song is Cardi B talking to Summer, talking about, yo, you know what I'm saying, chicks is in your inbox, they trying to embarrass you out in these streets. You need to make this shit an album. You need to make money off these hoes. You need to take back your power, blah, blah, blah. And London has writing credit on it. So how's Cardi talking and Summer singing, but London is getting paid for you talking shit about? Isn't that the joke there? Because that money is going to the next chick.
So what we're saying is that people are listening to this album, picking fights with their significant others, and it's being exploited by Summer and London.
Absolutely, because
they probably are actually getting along.
Oh, bruh, come on. If I hate you and then I gotta pull up because I'm looking for something right now. Yeah. But if I hate you and we fighting, and then I turn around and I'm getting writing credit, that means we're talking.
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? We're having a conversation somewhere where it's like, yo, all right, let's figure this out. Because her first album is so great that we don't get to this point and you think you about to reproduce with somebody completely. Because the first single didn't hit right. Like, I'm going to just keep it a buck. Never mind. I'm going to say it. I don't know why City Girls keep being featured on songs. They're not good rappers. They make good hype music. They do get the chicks hype. They can't rap.
They're not that good.
No, they're not. And so we get into this point and now Summer's here, so you know the first single don't hit, and then you get more reinforcements like, "Yo, I'm arguing with my girl," and let me tell you something. That line, I didn't like Justice doing it. I didn't like Maul doing it. Those are just Justice is her A&R. Maul is just an ex co-worker, Joe Budden podcast. But they always big up Summer all the time, right? I didn't like them coming out and saying, "Yo, I'm fighting with my girl," because you are encouraging a certain type of women.
You're encouraging a behavior, right? Like this behavior, this combative behavior is an acceptable behavior. And it's not. And then not only is it not, but we also got to understand it. And like I need the guys to understand this. Like look at where you grew up from and the baggage that you have. Because if you grew up without a father figure and you saw your mom interacting with other men, this is the product of, this is where simp culture comes from, right?
Absolutely.
Because you only see mom trading favors, right?
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? If then, right? If he does this, then I'll do this, right? I'll cook for him. He'll be over here. If he's taking care of the bills, then I'll spend time with them, right?
Yep.
So the only thing that you see, you don't see a man providing. What you see is a woman bartering, right? Whether she's bartering her time, whether she's bartering her body, which women are allowed to do. Sex work is real work. We support that on this podcast.
Absolutely.
So,
shout out to Dream Girls.
Yeah, so we're not gonna sit here and bash it. But if as a man, this is what you're experiencing and seeing, then yeah, in simp culture, you're going to lead with your wallet, right? Because you think
that shit supposed to work.
That's how it works.
Yeah.
Right? This is what will make a woman happy, right? Because whenever my mom was happy, right? When the lights was on, when the bills was paid, when the food was in the pantry, those were the times she was happy. But this is how it was occurring.
Absolutely.
And this is why I was like, I kept seeing this over and over again, and I was like, yo, this is culturally embarrassing. That we'll sit here and say that, we'll say, you know what? Yeah, girl, tell his mom that she raised the ain't shit dude.
Well, speaking of,
without seeing that this is what you are doing. You are creating more simps.
What you got to think? All right, Shorty on Twitter said, I'm glad Summer Walker brought up his mama. If you ever dated a man enabled by his mom, you know it's the worst. Hardly any accountability. They're a baby. You're in competition with the mom, and you're looking at her like woman to woman. Are you for real? Then she said, my ex-mom was on the phone hearing him push me, smash my hand, berate me, punch the wall, me crying, and still ain't asking how I'm doing. Another ex-mom asked me to save her stranded son after he abandoned me in a foreign country. They are the worst enablers. And you know what's funny about that is, Shorty got a type.
Yeah, I'm about to say, besides the fact that she's dating multiple ain't shit dudes,
she has a type.
And where are these dudes daddies at? Like anybody who listens to the podcast right now, anyone that's listening to the podcast about these two ain't shit dudes, does anyone believe that they had positive male role models in their life?
Absolutely not.
Absolutely not.
But these chicks have a type, bro.
So why we fight this shit so goddamn? Why when I say men should be responsible for when a woman gets pregnant, right? Mm-hmm. That should be a man's responsibility, because without his seed, there is no pregnancy. A man has to drop his seed in a woman's ovulation window. She can ovulate, but without his seed, she don't get pregnant.
Absolutely.
Right? So why is it such pushback whenever that is said, right? Like, yo, a man should decide if and when a woman has a child, right? Not if she should have the child. Like, once it's seeded, yeah, you're done, right? Like, once you plant a seed in the ground and the oak grows, that oak belongs to whoever property that is on, right? I mean, I'm gonna give you that. But children aren't trees. But once you drop that seed in a woman, like, all right, boom, yeah, you can't really tell her what to do at this point until the development, until the kid gets here. Now we got to get back on the same page. But a woman's life is at stake while she's pregnant, up until that baby is delivered. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, her life is at stake. A man got to back off on that.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
But in the very, very beginning, that's that man's responsibility after that child gets here.
Yep.
That's that man's responsibility. Why are we handing that power away? Because by us handing that power away, that's where all these fucking simps come from.
Absolutely. But you know, like you said, they grow up thinking that, yo, I can barter with women, or if a woman does this for me, or if a woman don't do this for me, I ain't got to do X, Y, and Z. And those dudes is annoying as hell as well.
Exactly.
Like, to be around those people and you start talking to them and you kind of like
there has to be a responsibility. There has to be, and to your point, right? She said they never hold them accountable. The irony in that is, she's not even holding herself accountable.
Oh, nah.
Like, your decision making. Like, the moment you're with somebody and that shit's not working. Look, when you have kids, I get it. It's a little bit different. Mm-hmm. You married, you live together. Yeah. Takes a little bit more effort to get free.
Yeah.
Right? if she stays in this apartment, you stay in that apartment, and a dude is going upside your head, girl, it don't cost you nothing to get out of this relationship. Mm-hmm. Get the fuck out of it. Same thing for dudes all fucking day. If a woman is toxic as shit and she's gaslighting you every fucking chance she gets, bruh, it costs you nothing to get out of this relationship.
Yeah.
Now, what we're realizing is that 85% of men, when they got a woman, they can't really break that, right?
Yeah.
Because what the fuck I'm gonna do when the only piece of fucking pie I got is attempting to leave, right? And I can't wait to get to the last episode, man, because it is actually we're gonna dive into the deep end.
Mike want to help y'all in the last episode.
We really do, man, and talk about this more, because it's several things that we're realizing here. Okay. I was talking to a good friend of mine yesterday, and I forget the topic, but I asked her a question. I said, who reads romance novels? Right?
Okay.
Like, who reads romance novels?
Chicks.
Women read romance novels. Mm-hmm. I said, have you ever picked up a romance novel and the woman didn't get fucked in it? Like, ever? So then she was just like, nah, like, it goes down.
Yeah.
In romance. Now, mind you, I've never read a romance novel. All right. So I'm going off of what I'm being told. So I'm asking an expert, a woman that reads romance novels. She was like, yeah, no, they get it in. I said, do they get it in with just one dude, or is it sometimes like, it's over a course of time, it's multiple dudes? She's like, yeah, most of the time it's like multiple dudes that a woman is getting it in with.
Y'all was reading Zane.
So I was like, so tell me, where does this ideal come from that women aren't sexual, right? Like, that women don't like getting it in. Mm-hmm. Like, this ideal, this shit has come from simp ass dudes, because women has never said, They were not sexual.
Absolutely. They fighting for it.
Yeah, like they've never said this, right?
They're fighting to let us know that it's okay for them to be sexual.
But when you have these simp ass men, right, that the 85% that don't get it, then when they get it, they have to put so many ties on it, right? Like, I gotta pay your rent, I gotta buy your car, I gotta buy all your because I can't afford you not being here anymore. And that simp ass culture is destroying the ability for those men to date. Because truthfully, what women value more than anything is safety.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like they'll tell you that, you know, they want the money and all that shit.
Yeah.
Like, but you know, all things being equal, if one dude makes you feel safe and another dude makes a lot of money, but you don't feel safe, she is leaving that dude.
Yeah.
Every fucking time.
I have a homegirl, excuse me, I don't have a homegirl. I know this girl, and she's out of this dude's league, and I'm like, yo, why are you talking to him? And it was just question, like, and I didn't say why. I was just like, oh, what attracted you to him? And I know she's out of his league. She goes, he makes me feel safe.
Yes.
He's very protective. She said he's no bum, but he makes me feel extra safe. And I just sat there and I was like, yeah, that's great to hear. Like, it was great to hear, because she was like, yo, for those who do not know, these chicks make money.
Yeah.
Y'all just paying everything.
What I'm about to say, women make the same amount, especially in the black community, women make the same amount of money as black men.
Yeah.
Right? There is no wage disparity.
I don't want to really talk about that, but it's okay.
No, they don't want to talk about that. There's no wage gap disparity between black men and black women.
It's like 4 cents.
Yeah, if a black man makes if he makes 75,000, she makes 72.
Yeah.
Right?
But they don't
but who's paying for the date?
The man.
The man is paying for the date.
Who paying the mortgage?
Yeah, the man is paying the mortgage, right? So here's the thing. What we've always said is that hypergamy is a thing, right? We said this several podcasts ago. The problem is that, you know, it's two things that men are doing very, very poorly at. One is out earning women. You, as a man, like, everyone can sit here and say that, okay, we want equality and we want this egalitarian lifestyle. That's actually what black men provide, and black men are married at the lowest rate of all the races. Right?
Yeah.
Like the CDC said, black men are more egalitarian, do more gender role bending type things, right? Like black men are likely to load the dishwasher, do laundry, fold laundry, vacuum the floor. They're more likely to do that, but they are married at the lowest rate of all of the races.
Well, the reason why, because it's hard as a black man where you make 70 grand, your wife makes 65, and we're not going 50-50, so to speak.
Yeah.
Right? And so, cool, we don't got to go 50-50, but if out of my 70, if I'm paying the mortgage, if I'm paying the car, if we go on freaking vacation and I'm covering that, and then don't let it be your birthday, anniversary, Valentine's Day, Christmas, whatever, Thanksgiving, whatever the hell these holidays that y'all be making up. My gift got to be better than yours, and then so we turn around and then don't let, when taxes come back and the kid shit, you get all that. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
And so what ends up happening is my 70 that I'm making, where you're making 65, you get to save 30 out the year.
Yeah,
when I get to spend 40 out the year.
Yeah. So I'm saving $5K, you're saving $30K in a 10-year period. Yeah, of course, the woman's checking account is going to be way greater than a man's checking account, which is fine, right? If you're doing a 50-50 thing as a man, your job is to provide. Yeah. Period, point blank. No one goes into a marriage expecting a divorce. Right? No. So it's like, I get all that. I'm for all that. But as men, like, we got to create side hustles. We got to create businesses. We got to create industry so we can actually start taking care of our women. Because at the end of the day, it really doesn't look like that women are enjoying 50-50.
No, but they want that Sierra bullshit prayer at the end. Yeah. And y'all don't want to work to have Russell, but whatever.
Yeah, exactly, right? You don't want to do the work.
I told y'all last episode why y'all.
But we ain't even got to talk about Russ and Sierra. I don't even want to go into that. But I want us as men to understand that, like, our earning power is a huge distraction to our relationships.
Absolutely,
it is a distraction. It is not helping. It doesn't help if you and your woman makes the same amount of money.
They don't,
because at the end of the day, a woman to say, I want this 50-50 type thing, or I want, I want to be able to help my man. But at the end of the day, bruh, if you make twice as much, she ain't complaining.
Nah.
She is not complaining. So as men, that has to become the goal. Now, that isn't the same as saying, why don't we just pay women less money? right?
Yeah.
Which again is not something that black men do. So two things, we need to take out of this. For one, stop saying men.
Yeah.
Because obviously the problem ain't black men.
Yeah.
So put the blame where it fucking belong. And as black men, we need to get back into having our own digital real estate, our own companies, so we can actually practice hypergamy in our communities and take care of our homes, right? Mm-hmm. We don't have to rule over our homes. We don't. Speaking of rules, great fucking segue to a conversation I was having last night. Mm-hmm. But a good friend of mine, same friend actually on the romance novels, but she called me last week about one of her cousins, or about her cousin. Cousin met a guy. He's a widow. His family has a construction company. They're a home building company, and they went out to dinner. And she was just telling him like, hey, she was just like, they were just having a conversation. She was just like, she had her dog. The dog had bit through the drywall in her apartment. She had to fix it. And and dude was like, oh, that's kind of what I do. He was like, I could just swing through and fix it for you, right?
Oh, that's
like,
what's up.
Yeah, like $200-$300 worth of work.
Yeah,
I mean, but for him, it's nothing.
Yeah,
I have the tools, I have the know-how, I have the time. I like you. Yeah, it's nothing, girl.
Cool.
I'll come through and do it. So she calls, big cousin. She's like, yo, I got this guy coming through, and he's gonna fix my walls. I kind of like him, and my homegirl was like, hey, well, why he's fixing everything. She was like, why don't you just, hey, just throw a quick steak on and a potato.
Okay.
So when he finished,
yeah, he got a little meal.
Yeah, it'll be something there ready for him. And her little cousin response was, it's too early for all that.
Hold on, Kawhi. You tell him, girl, it's too early for that shit.
It's too early for all that, right?
You coming to my house helping me out. Yeah, and I can't cook.
Yeah. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that at all. So and she was just like, yeah, like you're in the DMV area, a highly competitive market.
Yep.
She didn't say this, but I'll say it. You're 39 years old, you're single.
Oh, it's a wrap for you.
Never been married in a highly competitive market.
It's a wrap for you.
This man is, used to being settled down. Probably wants to be settled down again.
It's a wrap for you.
Why don't you compete in the area that you're good in?
Nope, they don't do that no more.
Yeah, and she was just like, I ain't doing all that, yada, 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 yada. So, all right. Last night, telling the story, out with a couple of my homeboys. We're out at the lounge, having, smoked a couple cigars. And, and I'm just like, I'm just telling them the story. We're all just like, you know what? It's kind of par for the course, kind of what dating is at our age. Whatever. And then like one of our homeboys was just like, nah, he should told her to do it. We like, what? He like, he should have a standard. He should not go and do that kind of work for a woman to get nothing in exchange. And we like, bruh, are you for real?
I hate you niggas.
Like, are you really saying, are you saying what we think we're saying? Like, quid pro quo? Like, like that's not the kind of men that we are. And I'm gonna give one of my boys credit because he looked over there. He was like, "Bruh," he was like, "That's the hurt talking." He was like, "That's the hurt talking, man."
Well, that goes back to our simp conversations.
Yeah, like it's the hurt talking.
Yeah, it's that.
And my boy, this dude is not a simp. This dude has his own house.
But absolutely, but it goes back to that conversation of bartering or assuming that that's what's supposed to happen.
Yes. And
that's where I was going with that.
And it's very lazy.
Yeah.
And we got in his ass, right? Yeah. I don't want anybody thinking that you listen to this podcast that if we're sitting in front of you and you say something stupid that we're not gonna be like,
especially Mike.
Fuck out of here.
If you're around, if Ez is there, Ez is rolling his eyes and just looking back at the TV. That's his code for shut the fuck up. Mike is gonna be like, all right, yeah, no.
Yeah.
And then Mike gonna keep going. And I would just be sitting over there like, oh. Yeah. That's all I'm gonna say is oh.
But and it was funny because one of the things that I wanted to discuss today was like we keep hearing this term of you got to have a standard. You got to have a standard, right? Mm-hmm. And it's like y'all don't know what a standard is, right? Y'all think a standard is a set of rules. Okay. All right.
Okay.
That like if you want to deal with me, these are my rules.
Yeah, man. You're not getting ass on the first night.
Yeah.
You got to take me here to eat. You know what I'm saying? You got to pick me up by this.
Here's the thing.
Man, it's a standard.
No, here's the thing. A standard is also an example or a basis of comparison.
Okay.
That is a standard, right?
Technically, yes.
So if Apple creates the iPhone, right?
Yes.
Apple standard, this has been voted the highest quality smartphone device for the past decade.
Absolutely.
All right.
Shout out to us.
Yeah, it hasn't even been close. Apple has been the high. All right, that's their standard, right? Mm-hmm. Is that a rule or is that a comparison based upon all the other smartphones out of there? Are they the example? Are they the leader? Because that's what a standard is.
Absolutely.
Like that's what you got to like. When you're a human being, you're not a set of fucking rules.
Absolutely.
You actually have the ability to change your mind. You have the ability that if you fuck up, to go back and unfuck it up.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
So a rule is just in place, right? A law is in place. A law is in place until you repeal it.
Yeah.
Even if the law is no longer enforced, right? It has to be taken off of the books. When you say I have a standard, right? I need him to be 6'3". I need him to make $100,000 a year. I need her to be, 30 years old. I need her to be a size 6, right?
Yeah.
Like you have all of these rules.
Yeah.
Now understanding that your standard is it has to be your input. When Apple creates the iPhone, Apple said we can't build phones in the United States of America because we don't have the technical workforce that's able to build the iPhone to the quality that we need.
Absolutely.
Right? So we can only build phones in this one place in China, in this one area, right? Because that input, right? The effort that they put into the phone, the technical details that they put into the phone, the products, right? The Gorilla Glass, right? These are quality products. Are they cheap? No.
Nope.
They're not cheap products. But Apple is saying if we create all of these inputs, then we'll have a standard that'll make us the number one iPhone. The number one smartphone in the world. But Apple's standard isn't a set of rules. Their standard is, you know what? If we create the best, then we're going to attract people that have the liquidity, people that will stretch to buy our device. Because ultimately, how I take care of myself is being the best version of myself.
Absolutely.
Apple could not be the sixth smartest smartphone, right? Sony Ericsson could not build an iPhone tomorrow and be the number one iPhone, carrier in the world, right? They couldn't do it. They couldn't even buy Apple and do it.
He called it Sony Ericsson. That's the funniest part.
Yeah, that's because that's how far back
he just aged himself so bad.
Exactly. But that's my point. It's like if you want this type of individual, and you think standards is, well, I just want the rule, right? Like Sony Ericsson cannot charge $2,000 for a phone. They can't make a phone today and say we're going to charge $2,000 for it. Nobody's going to buy it.
Nope.
Everybody's still going to buy the iPhone.
They tried that with cameras and it didn't work. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
To go with your thing.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't do that.
Nope.
So as a person, when you create all these rules, right? So when my boy is saying like, yo, this is what I expect.
Yeah.
But you haven't created this comparison.
Yeah.
You don't understand that you're in a competition. You haven't put in that input. You're not going to get that outcome.
Well, shout out to you and shout out to your other friends that was there to be able to hold him accountable and to educate him on that, because certain things as men, certain things that our culture, and I'm talking about black culture, will miss because of the gaps throughout history for the last 100 years, right? And so now we are relying on our friends who are, we're the most educated of our past and everything, right? So some of us will be able to educate each other like, yo, bruh, you can't do this. Hey, some girls are like, yo, like your friend and her friend, when they're having a conversation, she was like, look, I was trying to let her know, like, look, I'm somebody, I'm married or whatever the case may be.
This is what it takes to get here.
This is what it's going to take.
Yeah.
And so I always, and I think we talked about this last episode, we had this conversation of, yo, think about the dude you want. We're talking about people who date out their league, right? Or who dating the wrong type of people or trying to date the wrong type of people. You got to figure out like, hey, the person I want, what are they looking for?
What are they looking for?
Do I want to conform or change or develop to be that person? Or do I want to, and you don't have to, or do I stay the same?
What did the late, great Patrice O'Neal said? You have to sell what the other person is buying, right? If you want that person to take you off the shelf, you got to be what that person wants.
Absolutely.
Right? Like if when we walk into the grocery store and if we want, Mountain Dew. Yeah. I mean, you could be the fucking, I don't know, the grocery store, the Walmart version of Mountain Dew, right?
Dew Splash. Mountain Splash, whatever they even call them shit.
You know what I'm saying? But if a person wants Mountain Dew, but you're within their range, they're going to pick you up. Yeah. Right? But if you're a fucking cola, Walmart cola,
Yeah.
and they want Mountain Dew, they're not going to pick you up.
Absolutely.
You have to be what that person wants.
Shout out to all the churches used to have the little mountain splashes.
Yeah, and it's like you have to be what that person wants. Your standard, if you think a standard is a set of rules, you're missing the fucking boat, right? Like my ideal of who I am as a man, right? Like the way that I do want to take care of people, the way I've developed to be able to understand what a win looks like, right? Like if the win takes an apology, even if that person isn't doing an apology, if that's the win, right? Like if I get that change behavior for saying, yo, my bad, why wouldn't I do it? Because the only thing that should stop you is what? Pride, right?
Absolutely.
I'm not going to do it because they didn't do it.
Yeah.
Right? I'm not going to be the first one to do it. What do you want the pride or do you want the fucking win?
Stop keeping score, yo.
Understand what the win looks like, man.
Absolutely.
Hey, we're gonna play a clip real quick here.
This
is something else that's gonna help you guys out. Listen to this real quick.
Better at making this case for education. I mean, I talked to Jocko Willink recently too, and he also
This is Dr. George
went
Peterson.
on a very inspired rant about the utility of his English literature degree because it made him so formidable in communication within the military structure. I can't understand how that idea has been forgotten or why it isn't being transmitted properly. There's nothing you can possibly do to become more deadly than to improve your facility with language.
That's something that I wanted to stress at the end of this because we're talking about standards. And it's something that I think that we need to understand is that learning how to communicate, how to talk to people, how to use language, how to use tone, these are the deadly tools now. These are the effective tools now. This is the way that you effectively date, achieve, and succeed.
Absolutely.
And too many of us think that masculinity is what the fuck you want, right? Like we think that's what it is.
That scared me.
And that's not what masculinity is. Learning to be a craftsman with your words, learning how to facilitate language to achieve what you want. This is what the 15% get, guys. Like the guys who actually getting it.
Yeah.
They and some of them do it to their peril because they're taken advantage of, because they are slick with their words.
Yeah.
But as a man, if you cannot understand how to be interested and how to be interesting,
they not funny, Mike. I tell you that every podcast.
you do, and it's like, yo, y'all fellas have to learn to be interested and to be interesting. And here's the thing: the quickest way to do this is not by watching every fucking Marvel movie. Like no one gives a fuck about Doctor Strange in real life. I do watch him. I enjoy him.
I love that shit.
You know what I'm saying? But no one wants to talk about that shit. Like even when we watch the shit, we don't be like, damn dude, you watching goddamn X-Men? Like no one gives a fuck.
My wife was probably gonna hand clap for that part right there. She probably be like, bruh, we watch that shit so much.
Yeah, they're interesting, but it's like, yo, no one gives a fuck.
Nobody don't. You know what's funny is I was talking to your brother 2 weeks ago, and me and him was having us a random conversation, and he goes, we talking about being married, and he said, bro, I had to learn to communicate. And I said, yeah, bro, because in past relationships, that shit don't work. And he said, bro, I finally had to realize, like, yo, the way I used to communicate didn't fucking work, and it wasn't supposed to work, and it didn't work.
No.
And I was telling him, I said, dude, I got annoyed at hearing my wife say, yo, no, that's not how we're going to talk to each other. Or that's not how I want to be spoken to. Or no, this isn't working. And I had to realize, like, yo, my communication skills was trash. And you know what I'm saying? And then I had to realize, like, no, this is how you talk to her, or this is how you talk to people.
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? It's understanding people. It's listening actually before you start fucking talking. You know what I'm saying? It's sitting there and saying, all right, this is what I meant. This is what I said. This is what I mean. Explain, talking shit through and learn to communicate, because so many people, bro, they get stuck because communication fucking sucks.
And that is the part, right? And sometimes like the communication is, we can't get through that last 20-25%, right? Like we could do 75% of the communicating. We could talk about most things, but those behavior changes, right?
Yeah.
We get real fucking defensive. You know what I'm saying? It's like, and how do you have a conversation with someone without saying you did this, you made me feel, instead of saying, hey, I feel this way.
Yeah.
And I need an understanding of here, right? And allowing that person the room and the space to say whatever it is that they've needed to say. I mean, I and I'll be honest, it's hard, right? Because when you first do this and you talk to someone and you're like, okay, I need you to explain to me what did I do to you, right? And then they tell you, you want to defend yourself so bad. You want to be like, but you know, that's not what I meant. And it's like, but you got to sit there and listen because this person needs to get it out, right?
Absolutely.
And especially when you're in a relationship, because they're going to talk to someone. Yeah. You need that someone to be you. Fellas, especially. You do not need that someone to be someone else. Bruh. Especially someone else that lives in that 15%.
Look, she be talking to her cousin, her aunt, you know what I'm saying.
And then you run into the mistakes of talking to family, right? Like
my gosh.
I would never forget, man. I told my mom something one time, man, when I was married. And my mom held on to it. Like a little too long. Like she let it go at some point because my mom is super fucking nice. My mom is way too nice. Yeah, right. She is. But
shout out, Ma.
I remember like I told her something. She held on to it because like me and my wife was straight. Yeah, and my mom was still kind of salty, and I was like, you know what? That was my bad. Yeah, absolutely. I should not have. I wanted to talk to someone, and I couldn't talk to her because she and I was arguing, right? So I ended up talking to my mother about something that I should not have, and it stuck, and it was like, and that was such a it only happened one time. Yep. I'm a fast learner, thank God. But it's like when we're in these relationships, are we trying to effectively communicate, or are we trying to control the conversation? Like what are we trying to?
That's a word right there.
Yeah, what are we trying to do here? Yeah, pass the offering plate on it. Pass the mic.
That was a word right there.
But what is it that we're trying to do, right? Are we trying to control the conversation, or are we trying to communicate? And I'm telling you, there is a better place to live as a man when you learn to use your words. That's why that's the only reason I played the Jordan Peterson clip, is because that is so true, man. If you can learn how to use your words, right? If you can learn how to control yourself, right? A protective man, a man that can protect, isn't a coward, right? Like I'm reading a lot of excerpts from Will, and I'm starting to understand this relationship because in a lot of places he actually says like, "Yo, like I look at how I dealt with the Pac situation, right? I was a coward." You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of places like he look at how his brother dealt with his father versus how he dealt with his father. He felt like, man, like, yo, I'm a coward. Now we talking about one of the biggest action heroes, right? Of all time box office. Absolutely. But he's living in the space where he's like, yo, I'm a coward, which means I'm not as masculine as I should be. And as men, you need to look at yourself and see where are the places that you are afraid, right? Are you afraid at relationships because you have abandonment issues? Like you're afraid of being left first. You know what I'm saying? You're someone cheated on you and you're afraid of being cheated on. You keep messing with other dudes' girls, so you think that you owed that. Yeah. Right. What are your fears? And then look at those fears. Right. Look at each fear that you have, each insecurity that you have, and then when you look at it, when you think of the situation, find out what emotion that is. Right. Is that emotion? Is that shame? Is it guilt? Is it hurt? Because once you realize like what that feeling is, and you say, all right, I'm gonna deal with that. I feel this way because I feel guilty. Yeah. Right. And then you realize, well, you know what though? But I've grown. I'm no longer that person. Facts. You don't have to live in that guilt anymore. Facts. Right. So now you can actually hold a conversation with someone and you don't have to bring up old shit because you've already dealt with your fucking baggage. It ain't trauma. Right. We run around talking about like, yo, this shit is trauma. It's not trauma. It's baggage. Right. Absolutely. If a loved one, died in front of you, that might be traumatic, right? Yeah. If your girlfriend broke your heart, that ain't trauma, right? Like, find out what it is. Find out what your insecurities are, what your fears are, what's causing you to respond in the way that you respond. Like, and then once you look at it, you're gonna realize, like, man, this new way of interacting with people and talking to people and actually just not being a dick. It's a great place to live.
There you go.
That's all I got.
Look, man, I want to thank y'all for tuning in. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram coming. You know what I'm saying? We out here.
If you disagree, go in the comments. Tell us where you disagree at. We would greatly appreciate it for the algorithm.
Absolutely. Do us a favor so we can do you more favors. Anyway, man, we're going to holler at y'all next time.
Holler at your boy.